All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're breaking down a really important proposed airworthiness directive from EASA. And this one's a big deal because it affects one of the most popular aircraft families in the world, the Airbus A320.
So, let's dive in. The whole reason for this new directive is a potential structural weakness, something hidden deep inside the wing structure, and it all has to do with the main landing gear.
So, first things first, let's take a look at the actual regulatory framework EASA has proposed here.
Okay, here are the key facts. This proposed Airworthiness Directive, or PAD, dropped on September 16, 2025. It's focused squarely on the main landing gear retraction actuator fitting. The required action? New repetitive ultrasonic inspections. And what's really crucial to know is that this is designed to completely supersede two older ADs from 2007 and 2014. It's all about updating the requirements for the long-term health of the fleet.
So you have to ask, why the new directive? Well, this isn't just some routine update. Not at all. It is a direct response to a hidden danger, one that was only uncovered through some pretty extensive and rigorous testing.
Yeah, the whole reason we're talking about this is because of what they found during full-scale fatigue tests on the A320 airframe. I mean, these tests are intense. They're designed to simulate the stresses of an entire service lifetime, and they definitely revealed something that needed a much closer look.
And that something is metal fatigue. Now, this isn't about a bad part from the factory. It's about the cumulative stress that builds up on a critical component, in this case the rear spar, after thousands and thousands of flights. Over time, all that repeated loading can cause these tiny, microscopic cracks to start forming right at the attachment holes for the landing gear actuator.
And this is really the bottom line. If those fatigue cracks are just left there, undetected, they're not going to stay microscopic. They will grow. And the ultimate risk, the one we absolutely have to prevent, is a compromise to the wing's structural integrity. That could, potentially, lead to a catastrophic failure.
Okay, so let's talk about the solution. This is all about being proactive, about detecting the problem early. It's about building a whole new layer of safety into the maintenance programs that are already in place.
Now, you might be wondering, does this affect every A320 or A321 out there? Well, no. It specifically targets the older pre-modification aircraft. So, if you're operating newer jets that had specific modifications done during production, you're exempt because the issue was already taken care of at the factory.
The path to compliance is actually a really clear four-step process. First, you've got to identify the right aircraft in your fleet. Then, you perform the initial ultrasonic inspection based on the new service bulletin. After that, it's all about scheduling those repeat checks at set intervals. And finally, you report everything you find back to Airbus within 30 days. Pretty straightforward.
And this slide really shows you how things have progressed, right? We're moving away from the older standards of those 2007 and 2014 ASDs and into a new, much more refined process. This proposal brings in enhanced methods and updated thresholds, all designed for an aging fleet that's expected to fly longer.
Okay, so that's the technical side of things. Now let's talk about the so what. What does this directive actually mean for the different teams on the ground, the people responsible for keeping these planes flying safely and, on schedule?
Well, if you're a safety manager, this is exactly what you want to see. It's a clear win. This directive gives you a tangible action that, as you can see here, literally moves the needle from a higher, unacceptable risk down to a mitigated, managed risk. It's all about preventing that structural failure.
For the engineers and maintenance planners, these are the magic numbers. You've got to plug these specific flight cycle or FC and flight hour or FH thresholds right into your maintenance program. The timing of that initial inspection depends on the plane's history, but after that, it just becomes a recurring check every 5,500 flight cycles.
All right, let's talk money and time. For the commercial teams, the big question is always downtime, isn't it? Every inspection is going to require a certain number of hours with the aircraft on the ground, AOG, and that time has to be carefully baked into operational planning and, of course, the flight schedules.
And if you're in leasing or on the commercial side, your checklist just got a bit longer. You'll need to verify the modification status of every single asset, plan for those increased maintenance costs, and really understand how this AD could affect your lease agreements, especially when you're looking at bringing in new aircraft or returning old ones.
So, with all that in mind, let's bring it all together. What's your immediate action plan? What are the critical deadlines that you and your team absolutely need to have on your radar right now? Okay, pay close attention to this timeline. You really need to circle this date on your calendar. The proposal was issued on September 16th, but the big one for you is October 14th, 2025. That is when the window for feedback and consultation closes. After that, EASA is going to review all the comments and then issue the final airworthiness directive with a hard effective date.
So here's your homework, basically. First, get the documents. That's the PAD and the new service bulletin, and review them in detail. Second, figure out exactly how this is going to impact your specific fleet. And most importantly, if you have any feedback or concerns, get your comments prepared and sent over to EASA before that October 14th deadline.
You know, at the end of the day, this directive is way more than just a fix for one part. It really represents the constant evolution of aviation safety. It's about making sure that as our aircraft get older, our methods for making sure they're structurally sound get better too. And that brings us to the big question that every single operator should be asking themselves. Is your fleet ready for the next generation of airworthiness standards?